welcome to the channel. So this video is going to be about why men feel trapped and then what to do about it. So one of the things that I figured out, I'm in my late 20s right now, is looking back over the years, some things I would have done differently, and then right now, what are some things you can do to get unstuck? Now, this is going to be primarily for guys who they feel no sense of purpose, they feel trapped, they feel stuck in some way. I just want to give you guys a little bit of hope. And then if you're a little bit younger, maybe some things I would have done different. And then of course, some things we can do moving forward, okay? So as everything is right now, I can look back over the last, about 10 years or so and look back to some good choices I made and some not so good choices that I made, all right? So looking back in the past, there were some choices such as I wanted to join the Army National Guard. That helped set me up for college. I got my college degree. I was able to get a lot of work experience, and I was able to just kind of get a good grasp for a lot of things that I wanted to do in life. I was able to go out, socialize, go out, hang out with friends, and just kind of live a pretty well-rounded life in many ways. Now, of course, at the time making this video, which is about the end of 2024, about 4-ish years ago is when, of course, C-19 hit and everything shut down and everything kind of came to a screeching halt. So talk about that a little bit as well. So guys, basically from 17 to 21, 22, I was just kind of doing my thing, right? I was just joined the military again. I started college, and I started to socialize a lot. And honestly, guys, if I had to go do it all over again, there's not really a whole lot that I would have changed. Some things that I think every young guy should be very aware of is don't get super involved with women. Okay, I know that's a very controversial topic, but if you can find a really solid woman, a really good woman who is feminine, she wants to be with you, she wants to follow your lead, and you have something to offer, you have a good thing going for you, a good career, a good outlook on life, you're pretty much doing what you need to do, right? If you guys can complement each other, great. But for the majority of guys, I would say, hey, don't really focus too much on women. Just don't. And this isn't even to put women down. This is just to say, hey, you need to be focusing on yourself. You need to be focusing on your future family, because what I'm saying now, this is going to tie into some of the issues that a lot of guys are facing in life. So don't focus too much on women, guys. Don't focus too much on parties and drinking and other things like smoking weed and drugs and all that stuff, okay? A lot of people do that in college, and from what I've seen, okay, you do have the occasional few people who they do it and they try it a couple times and they're like, it's not really for me, which is great because it's not going to hold them back. But a lot of people, they end up trapped in that lifestyle, and what I mean by that is they end up really enjoying it and they end up chasing that high over and over and over. And I'll just be real with you guys, it's very empty. It's not really going to lead you anywhere productive. You're going to have some good memories, you are going to have some stories, but you're going to end up regretting a lot of it. You're going to end up spending money. You're going to end up, again, if you drink a lot, you're going to end up, it's going to catch up to you eventually. Your skin's going to look different, your digestion's going to be all out of whack. If you're staying up late, just one night out of the week, if you're staying up till 2, 3, 4 in the morning, that's going to wreck your sleep schedule. It's going to throw your rhythm off. You're going to become, a majority of people are just going to become more undisciplined. Now, I knew people who they could do everything, they could have everything, do everything, but their life was super unbalanced. It wasn't as productive as it could have been. And so, again, I just recommend just go easy on that stuff. Really focus on what you want to do when you're there. I know a lot of people, a lot of young people, man, they focus on I gotta, the choices I make now are going to affect me for the rest of my life. And that's halfway true. Every action you make, every choice you make is going to have some sort of consequence, okay, good or bad. And you have to take those in stride, especially when you're younger. You have to realize, okay, like, I'm going to make some mistakes, I'm going to mess up, but don't put yourself in situations to purposely mess up, or, don't get in trouble with the law that could keep you from things later on in life. But one of the things that a lot of people get stuck on is feeling like they have to live far ahead of where they're at. And what I mean by that, some people, they go to school and they're like, their whole life revolves around being an engineer, and it revolves around, okay, by the time I'm 30, I'm going to do this and this and this, and it's like, okay, cool, great, that's awesome, plan for that, but you're still 20, you're halfway through college or whatever, and focus on being 20, focus on what's right in front of you, focus on your courses, focus on your schoolwork, focus on your friends, focus on what job you're working right then. Always be trying to set yourself up for that next step, but don't get so hyper focused on 10 years in the future. Again, it's good to plan, but you should always be giving 100% of your effort to what's in front of you. And so one of the things I saw a lot of people, at least in what I saw in college, and then I was also in ROTC for about a year and a half. So I was hanging out with a lot of different people, and the biggest advice I could give you, especially if you go to college, is, hey, make sure that you choose something that you're going to enjoy. Don't pick something that you feel pressured into. Don't feel something that your family pressures you into, because that's going to be you doing the homework. That's going to be you going to class, day after day. It's going to be you working around, if you're working around your homework, you have to really have a passion for what you're studying. And I chose a pretty easy degree. I got a degree in criminology, criminal justice, which is one of the easier degrees you can get in college. But I was also very interested in that topic, and so it was pretty easy for me. Whereas if someone doesn't like anything to do with, law, criminal justice, or anything like that, they might not do so well, or they might hate it. I know some people who just took that specific path because it was one of the easiest degrees, but they didn't end up enjoying it. They didn't end up getting the grades that they wanted to. So just be aware of that. I know some people who loved being an engineer, who loved computer science, who loved English, right? You have to really enjoy what you're doing, and just go for it. Just take it day by day. If you don't go to college, guys, I would highly recommend getting a trade. And honestly, if I had to choose between the two, it's tough to say, guys. I would say if it's possible, I know it's going to sound crazy, but I know a lot of people, work full time during college. I would almost try to get a trade while you're working on your degree, if you can. If you're able to do that, if it's not too stressful. I know some trades you can even work part-time. So instead of learning a trade in maybe 2-3 years, maybe it takes a little bit longer, but by the time you graduate, you have a degree and you have a trade. Again, you're gonna have to figure out how to balance that. You probably have to do a lot of online classes, but that would just be a really good way to do it. If not, a lot of people just do, they work a part-time job at a local grocery store, local fast food place. So maybe you can get an on-college job. I'd recommend that if you can. And just, again, find what works for you. College opens up a lot of doors, but it's also not this, golden ticket like a lot of people make it out to be. If anything, college, a 4-year degree, is becoming more of a prerequisite to a lot of jobs. So again, this is at the tail end of 2024, but if you were to go online, and a lot of people can probably attest to this, if so, let me know in the comments. But when you're trying to find a job now, goodness, just from 2 years ago, I thought 2 years ago trying to find a job was difficult. Now it's completely different. Most jobs, they want you to have a college degree no matter what. They want you to have 3 to 5 years of experience, which is insane. Basically, they want you to work in your field during college. So going back to criminology, right? If you can find some sort of part-time or some full-time position, working as a paralegal, working even at the criminal justice department at your school, having some experience relevant in your area can help you out a lot in the long run. But oftentimes, guys, if you are going for criminology or something like that, you're really going to have to be stuck on, you either want to do something in the military, and I'll talk about that a little bit here in a second. You either want to go into law enforcement or you want to go into one of the three-letter agencies. Homeland Security is a pretty overlooked one. A lot of people get stuck on FBI, CIA, but you can go to Homeland Security. A lot of times they want a degree. There's some other things you got to do, some other requirements you have to meet, but just be prepared to, your degree is going to kind of narrow down some options. But if you just want to work some office job, a lot of just office jobs now, they require you, or they strongly recommend that you have a 4-year degree. It really does help, but it's more of a prerequisite now. It's not what it used to be 40, 50 years ago, okay? So times are changing a little bit. If anything now, if you can get your master's, if you can get scholarships, that's one thing I want to talk about as well. Look into scholarships. You don't have to be a star athlete. You don't have to be a valedictorian to get scholarships. You can. I knew people in college, and I was about halfway through at this point, but started talking to people about college and how they're paying for it. And there was a couple people I met, all they did, the summer before they went to college, they just spent their entire summer online applying for every and any scholarship that they could. And I thought this was crazy. Most people, they think, okay, I'm going to work for the summer, or I'm going to take off before the summer. I'm going to focus on, some really, in a sense, menial things. Well, you should really, if you can, look into the scholarships. A lot of them just require like one-page essays. And he was telling me, long story short, he would just apply for all these different scholarships, and he wouldn't get a lot of them, but he would get quite a few. And what it ended up is he started getting $500 here, $1,000 here, $500 here, $700 here, and it all added up. He was rolling in it. I think he ended up working maybe a little bit part-time during college. Honestly, I'm trying to remember now. I don't think he worked. He was able to either buy or rent a house with his brother. Like I said, I don't even know if he was working. He was able to do pretty much whatever he wanted to do. He had so much leftover money that he was able to do whatever he wanted. So he's like, yeah, no one really knows about this. I'm like, goodness, I wish I would have looked into that, because it's surprising, guys. At least back then, a lot of people, they just go, oh, there's no way I'm going to get that scholarship. People don't even apply for them. People don't even sign up for them, or your pool of competition is so small that if you just write a half decent essay or whatever, they're going to pick you. It's crazy. So look into that. There's so many opportunities out there, guys. Take advantage of it. You don't want to be in college debt. You don't want to have to worry about college debt. You don't want to have to, pay back, tens of thousands of dollars over the next 10, 20, 30 plus years of your life. You just don't. Another pro tip I would give you is go ahead and try to find a low-cost college. I know a lot of people get stuck on big-name colleges, big-name private schools. If you have the money for it, you have a scholarship, great. By all means, enjoy it, go for it. But a lot of people, you don't need to go to private top-level universities. You just need to go to a decent state college, and you'll save a ton of money. You'll have a degree that's just as, competitive. Now, the only difference would be some places I know, they look at some degrees, or depending on who's hiring or whatever, they might see a certain school, and yeah, there's always that, of course. Another big one's networking. Again, I tried to be pretty social in college, but one of the things that I would recommend on doing is being as social as possible in college. Get out of your shell, network, find a group of people, and really just think of it kind of like you're spider webbing out. So find the people you're comfortable with. It can be from your class, it can be a group. There's lots of groups you can get involved with on campus for a lot of different little extracurricular stuff. anything you can imagine. They have video game groups, card game groups, they have study groups for this and that, they have groups for everything. Network, talk to people. It's really not so much what you have now, it's who you know. So definitely get involved in networking, but I know with some of those higher level colleges, the networking within that can be very valuable. But again, you have to know how to be personable, market yourself, and just be personable. That goes for all walks of life, but college, it really does give you a leg up. Now, like I said, college is not the be end, it's not the everything that everybody makes it out to be. So I would recommend having some sort of backup. I recommend, like I said, if you can do a trade, try to do that. Or like I said, if you don't want to really go the military law enforcement route, if you don't want to go into a STEM field, which is science, technology, engineering, mathematics, and even some of those are starting to become a little bit less, sought after because of our advances in technology, AI, and things like that. So there's not as high of a demand in some areas. For instance, the last few years, I know that I believe it was tech was huge, computer science was like the thing, and now people are struggling to find jobs in that market because everybody thought, oh, I'll just go that route because that's super high demand. And now with technology getting more advanced and that field becoming more dominated by people getting those degrees and stuff, it's like nobody can find a job in that field. So again, do what you enjoy. Don't do it what is sought after, because at the end of the day, you'll make it work. And the most important thing is to get through college. A lot of people don't even graduate. They get stuck, they run out of money, they run out of time because of other obligations. They just don't finish. So do something you enjoy. It's gonna be a lot easier to finish. Now trade, let's talk about that a little bit. Doing a trade, guys, I highly recommend it. There's really no shortage, especially in this modern era. It seems like everywhere you look, there's shortages of people. People need people to make the roads. They need people to be electricians, plumbers. We need those people. Again, I was trying so many different things out of college, and I'm glad I did, because I figured out what I wasn't good at or what I didn't want to do. But one of my ideas I had was, okay, if I don't get a trade during college, what you can always do is you can get a degree. If you can't really get into the field or do what you want to do, you can always learn a trade right after. Yeah, it might be another 3-4 years, but let's say you start college or whatever, let's say 18, 19, 20, by the time you're 30, you would have had a degree and you would have had a trade. That would be awesome. That'd be super invaluable. Depending on what trade you're in, that degree, that can really help you if you want to get up into upper management. If you want to get away from the field environment, you want to be more of a manager, you want to be more of the overseer. I know degrees can help, so it's always a leg up. Guys, really look into a trade. If you like working with your hands in any capacity, again, it's a little bit harder work, but you get a pretty good living up front. You can negotiate your rate when you go to workplaces. If they say we're going to pay you $15 an hour, you can always negotiate and say, hey, look, I really want to do this. You can start out, be like, hey, I want 25 an hour. Maybe you won't get that, but maybe you can agree on 20 an hour, right? And then a lot of times there's room for overtime, so you can end up making a pretty decent amount as well. So as the years go on, you can either get raises or you can hop around different trade companies, which I know a lot of people do. They really enjoy that if they're not able to get the raise that they want. And it's really easy, especially if you have a couple years of experience somewhere. If you go down the street or you go somewhere else and you're like, hey, I have 2 years of experience doing plumbing, I want to go ahead and work for you, but I want this much. And they're like, well, yeah, you got the experience, you got a good reputation. Yeah, we'll pay you $5 more an hour. And you get these better benefits. And so you go that route, right? Very, very easy to maneuver. From what I hear, from what I know, my youngest brother, he's in the trades and he loves it. He's able to maneuver how he wants to. And it seems like just from what I've heard, just in general, it's easier to maneuver in the trades than it is, office jobs, college degrees, things like that. To each their own, everybody's different. Everybody knows how to do things differently, but that's just what I know. The third one here, and I don't want to talk about this too much because I'll have some other videos on it, and I'm going to make some more on this because this is my specialty, so to speak. I enjoy college and all that, but the military, I think, is a really overlooked route you can go as well. And one of the things I would recommend is if you just, you're nearing the end of high school and you've always wanted to serve, definitely choose the branch, look into the different branches and choose one that you want to go with. I chose the Army. Like I said, I chose the Army National Guard so I could go to school and do the military at the same time. But if I had to do it all over again, I'd probably go active duty for 3 to 4 years right out of high school. By the time I'm 21, 22, I get out, I have my full GI Bill, I get most of my state college paid for, and go from there. You can also get your degree while you're in, although there's talks of them cutting back the benefits while you're in. So waiting until you get out or waiting until you can use your full GI Bill might be more useful. But either way, so the common theme here, always work towards something, always get something, either a trade certificate, a college degree, because for instance, if you're in the military, having a college degree, even if you're enlisted, can help you with promotions. You can advance. If they're looking at two people side by side, again, there's still politics involved, but if they're looking at two people side by side, and you have similar PT scores, you have similar, positive reviews by your superiors and your subordinates. If one guy has a college degree and the other guy doesn't, it's very likely that the guy with a college degree is going to be chosen for a promotion. That's just the way that life is. That's the way the military is. They see that as you can be trusted to be consistent. You follow through on things. Like I said, degree is not a golden ticket anymore, but it still shows socially and educationally, it can show that you have the ability. Now, it's not going to guarantee it, guys. I'm not saying a degree is going to make you a whiz. It's not going to make you better than anybody. I'm just saying it has its place. Also in the military, having a degree, you can become an officer. An officer, guys, you can make, so let's say you go enlisted, you can get your degree, and then you can go back in as an officer. Officers make about, from what I understand, from what I've seen on pay charts, you make about 50% more per just month, roughly, than you would as enlisted. Now, there's more responsibility. You're going to be working usually more. But if you're looking for the leadership, you're looking for the pay, it's a really great route to go. So again, having that degree is going to help. And I would even say, if you're watching this, definitely look into potentially getting a master's in something. Again, something you enjoy, but masters are becoming like the new bachelor's degree. All right, I know it's 2 more years, I know it's more money, it's more time, but if you really want to go down that field, if you really want to get your degree, just be prepared. You should probably go get your master's. It's going to help you out immensely. So that's what I did. That's kind of what I would do. Now let's talk about what you can do if you're stuck like right now. Let's say you've done some of that, and let's say you haven't done that. Okay, what do you do? All right, so again, you have to be adaptable. You have to overcome your obstacles with whatever's in front of you. You have to face it and go, okay, all right, this is the cards that I've been dealt. This is the reality. What do I do about it? So if you're struggling to find a job, guys, you can always try to rework your resume. You can even have AI do your resumes now and create you a resume to your standards for free. It's pretty neat. You can reword some of it so it doesn't look so robotic, but pretty cool. They can act like they can literally take words you type to the AI and you can turn it into, or the AI turns it into a resume, like a file. It's really neat. Put that out there. Again, networking's huge now, guys. A lot of people use LinkedIn. A lot of people use Indeed, and they spit out the resumes electronically. That's okay, but you're going to have to realize, especially these days, you're going to have to put out a ton of resumes. And I would even go so far as to say you're going to have to really put yourself out there. I'd recommend going in person to the business if you can, even making a phone call, because they're going through so many electronic applications. Or what we're finding out now is a lot of these jobs are basically saying, hey, we're not hiring, sorry, blah, 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 because they can get tax benefits and breaks and things like that from just posting jobs online, which I think is really messed up. I don't think that that should be anywhere near allowed, but that's just the reality that we live in, guys. So you can always do gig work. I think gig work is overlooked in a lot of ways. If you don't have too many bills, you don't have too much to worry about. You can always look into things like grocery delivery services like Instacart, food delivery, Grubhub. If you have a decent car, you don't mind people, you can always drive people around like Uber and Lyft. I did that during college. I loved it. You can always look at temp agencies. You can always look at day labor, things like that. There's ways to make ends meet. One of the things you can always do is you can sell some of your items. You can, if you're really in a bind, start selling some things you really don't need or use, and just live. Be a minimalist. Don't let your things own you. Make sure you can own what you have. Sometimes it just makes a lot of sense to part with some things. But that's just a temporary solution, right? You really don't want to be doing Uber or whatever for the next 50 years. So what do? Now, there's a fourth route. You have your trade, you have your college, you have your military. Military, I think, personally, I just like it a lot. I'm actually trying to re-enlist right now for multiple reasons. You can find that in a different video that I'll make. But one of the biggest things is you want to eventually do some sort of side work. You want to do something that you really enjoy, whether it's making videos, whether it's making content. Everybody has something to share. I think personally, if you're just, you don't have something crazy going on, you can always, somebody can always set up a camera and talk, and people will like to watch what you have to say. Not everybody, right? There's this rule, it's called the rule of thirds. It's 30 people are gonna love you, 30 people are gonna be neutral, they're really not gonna go either way. Then you're gonna have 30 people who hate you, who are negative. So, find your audience, be personable, make content. I think anybody can do it. I think if you make one video a day, depending on what kind of content you want to put out, you make 1 or 2 videos a day or a few a week, you can really, over time, 2-3 years, you can really take off if you do it correctly, if you're consistent with it, if you're, again, personable and people like what you're talking about. So you can go that route. You can also do that along with, honestly guys, I don't really like saying this is kind of funny because you see it everywhere you go now, but you can always market some sort of product, okay? If you think that you are gifted in some sort of area, let's say coaching, let's say helping people with certain things, let's say you're just really good at fitness, you want to open up your online fitness brand, do it, okay? If you're really good at knitting, open up a knitting channel and sell a book for $10 that helps people learn how to knit certain ways. Or guys, you would be surprised. A lot of people, I think there's 2 extremes of people. There's ones who think they can never do it because they just don't have what it takes, which isn't true. And the other one's well, yeah, I could do it, but I don't want to because, I don't want to take advantage of people, or I don't want to, I don't know if what I have is actually valuable. Guys, you don't have to be a New York Times bestseller. You don't have to have 10 million followers. You just have to be authentic, okay? You're gonna have a group of following. You're gonna have people who like you. Again, you're gonna have people who don't like you. You're gonna have people who don't care, okay? That's just the gist of it. But if you can make a book, if you can write a book, if you can sell a product, let's say you just want to sell, let's say you're really good at coaching people. Let's say you're really good at at hyping people up. You're really good at helping people navigate their issues and overcome things and get results. Dude, start a coaching. I truly believe in coaching, okay? I've actually used coaching a couple times in my life, and each time I've done it, it's really propelled me to that next level where I'm able to think things through better, where I'm able to go, yeah, I can do that. I'm even gonna say this, guys, I think coaching for many people could be more useful than counseling or like mental therapy and things like that. I think if you have a really good, positive coach who knows what they're doing, who can help you figure out what you're good at, what you're not good at, and just kind of guide you through, like a life coach kind of thing, right? There's coaches for everything, but that can be extremely helpful. You can market your time. You can literally within a day, you could go online, you could get, there's certain apps online you can sign up for them, and then you can start like selling your time. So you can actually bring up like a digital calendar. You can schedule off like 30 minutes to an hour. You can sell your time for $50, $100, $200 an hour, right? Some people are crazy with it and they sell their time for like $1,000 an hour. I mean, I know some people are really good at that, and if you can give someone $1,000, like if the trade-off, if someone's paying you $1,000 an hour and then they're coming back to you for, you know, that much, then you have something really valuable. There's always a market for something. Those people are paying for something, right? Just make sure you're delivering that value. And that can go for small businesses, that can go for online products, that can go for anything, right? You don't have to get into all this crazy, weird stuff about, you know, if you're good at drop shipping, great. But I know that was one of the buzz things of my time, especially a few years ago. Everyone was drop shipping, Amazon FBA, all this stuff. Everybody was hopping on at the same time. Crypto, again, some people are really good at that. Some people, I would say most people, don't really know what they're doing. They end up not knowing what they're doing. They end up losing a lot of money, and they don't enjoy it. They just hop on because they're like, oh, that sounds kind of cool. Like, I'll just try it out. But again, you have to really enjoy what you're doing. That's the theme here, guys. Like, enjoy what you're doing. Don't just go with the flow. Don't try to fit into a box. Don't try to just do something because it makes money or because you think other people are going to be impressed or whatever. Just do it, okay? So work on that, guys. If you're stuck, there's always something, but don't stay where you are, all right? Don't get caught up in the woe is me. You know, definitely work out if you're not already. Find something you enjoy, okay? You don't have to be a bodybuilder, but, you know, find some sort of exercise where you can work out 4 to 6 days out of the week that you enjoy, all right? And just find, like, I have a video on finding your purpose, and you really just have to get quiet. You have to take a little bit of time and just really self-reflect and go, okay, like, what do I want to do? Whoever you are, what do you want to do? Do you just want to sit there and be like, yeah, I don't know if I'm really capable of this, or do you really want to get in and get real with yourself and go, hey, this is what I've always wanted to do. This is what I think I'm built for. This is what I'm good at. I'm going to go with it. I'm going to, you know, I might have to work a job I don't 100% enjoy, or, you know, I'm going to find a job that I enjoy. I know it's going to take time. I know it's going to be a little difficult, but I'm going to do it. Like, I'm going to put myself in the fire. I'm going to put myself through that, and I'm going to keep moving forward. Okay. Now, what would you want to do, let's say, in the future? All right, so we've talked about some of the things you can do in the present. We've talked about some of the things you can do in the past, and then the future, right? So if you're feeling stuck now, maybe you look to the future and you're like, man, there's no hope. Like, it doesn't matter what I do. It just seems like people are getting poorer. There's no way out. Okay, so again, you don't want to go down that road because it's going to leave you, you're not going to end up doing anything. You're going to be stuck, okay? So when you're looking in the future, you want to be serious about what you're doing right now. Again, this goes back to the 20-year-old in college who's so obsessed about being 30. You want to focus on what you can do now. If you have debt, pay off the smallest debt. Everybody has different ways of doing this. I think Dave Ramsey, he knows what he's talking about when it comes to paying off debt. So you pay off your smallest debts first, and then you just snowball those payments into the bigger debts until you're done, okay? If you do that, if you're disciplined, you can pay off your debts. Most people can pay off their debts very quickly, and they end up paying it off even faster than they thought that they could, because you end up finding out that, one, it feels good to pay off your debt. Two, once that starts rolling, you find out, you know what, it's better. I enjoy sacrificing towards this more than I do just sitting back and just hoping it's gonna go away, okay? So, you know, pay off your debts, do what you gotta do, you know, have a timeline, everybody can kind of figure out how much they have to pay off in debts. If you look at your debt and if you keep making your payments and it's going to take you 3 more years, okay, well, you have a plan. Okay, if I keep doing this, if I make at least this much and I keep paying these payments, then I'll at least pay it off in 3 years. But how can I pay this off in a year or less, right? The sooner the better, so you can focus on putting that money towards, savings, investments, into maybe your side business and things like that. So tackle those little things, one day at a time, and build that towards the future, and be adaptable, guys. I don't want to go too far into this because I have a video on your purpose that really helps you kind of visualize the future, but you want to see the future as optimistic. Like, okay, maybe I can't be a mega millionaire in 10 years. Maybe I can, but that's not the point. The point is, today, I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this. I'm going to take this step towards the ultimate goal of paying off my debt, being financially free, of not being wasteful with my money, of socializing with good people, of finding somebody that I care about, who cares about me, that we complement each other, right? You want to be able to put yourself in a good position, okay? So don't look at the future as it's never going to get better. It's never going to, forget that, guys, okay? That's too much social media. I would delete your Instagram, delete your Facebook, delete your Twitter. I would delete most of your social media, really, besides YouTube. And I'm not just saying that because I'm filming a video right now. I'm being real. Take pretty much everything away that's not educational, okay? YouTube can be used for educational, motivational purposes. So I would delete your social media, I wouldn't really get on it until you've done what you want to do. That way you're not looking, because guys, long story short, social media is going to cater towards highs and lows. It's going to make you feel either really bad or really good about yourself. It's going to flip-flop. It really hijacks the human brain. So if somehow the algorithm or whatever knows that you're going to be more susceptible to staying on because of fearful, negative content, that's all you're going to see. You're going to start to think that everything is doom and gloom. Meanwhile, let's say you're always looking at positive content. That can be a crutch in and of itself, because you look and go, like, man, like, everybody else is a millionaire. Like, I'm so far behind. All these 20-year-olds are driving Lambos and living it up in Dubai, and I'm just some dude who hasn't even started college or hasn't started anything in life. A lot of times, guys, that isn't true. Or 2, they didn't really get to where they got because of hard work. Or 3, maybe they did. Maybe they did do everything that they did, but that's not you, okay? So stop comparing yourself to people. There's a saying out there that best is the enemy, or better is the enemy of good. Don't get caught up in having the best, being better than, everybody else. Be the best you can be good, be consistent, and over time you will get better. Things will get better, and you'll find your purpose. Don't let your life become consumed about money. Don't let your life be consumed with women. Don't let your life be consumed with partying, because it's vapid. It goes away like that, okay? It's leaves behind a couple of fun stories to tell, but you could have done a lot more with that, okay? So if you're feeling stuck, guys, if you're feeling kind of, I hope this really helps you out. I hope this helps you wherever you are in life, whether you're looking forward, you're looking back, or it's a combination where you're stuck right now. If you got any comments or questions or concerns, please let me know below. I'd love to help you out, maybe just in the comment section, or make some more videos if you guys have any ideas. But hope that's helpful, guys. Take care, and we'll be right back at you with the next one.